Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream. Won't be long. Okay, let's make sure of the sound levels. So yeah, you can hear me okay. That's good. So we are on the ground, excuse me, at Osaka in Japan. We're going to fly to Nagasaki. So it's about 350 miles, give or take. So we're going to use say intentions along the way just to make it a bit more interesting. So let's go and jump inside the airplane and see about getting things configured, or a little bit configured, and then we'll talk to the tower. So what do we do? It's worth pointing out actually, while we are doing this flight, I am going to be following two things, or using two documents that I've written in the past. So if we go to Google Drive, and I can show you, the first one is going to be an IFR guide that I've written in the past, and I've put a link to this in the notes of the video, and it walks you through all of the things you need to do, and it's a good kind of reminder, if you haven't done it for a while, about the different services you can call and the sort of conversations. So if, for example, calling for clearance. And the other one I'm going to be following is for the F28, and this is the startup procedure for the F28. So links for both of them are in the notes of the video, so feel free to go and have a look. I am going to be actively using them during the flight. Okay, so you can hear in the background I've already got say intentions up and running. So we will be using it soon, but we'll get up to that point in the startup of the aircraft first.
Stand by.
So, overhead, we're going to go and put the battery to on. So, I'm going to be really rusty at doing this because I've not started this airplane for a while. So there goes the battery. Then the APU section, second column at the top, we're going to go and put the main to on or up. And there it goes. And then air conditioning, third column, we're going to put left main to on. So it's further up, look. Left main. Just checking what is on and what isn't. Here we go. So then within 10 seconds, or after 10 seconds, we should be able to go and press the start button and it will light up for the APU, which we've just done. We can monitor the RPM coming up above. And then once it gets to, oh, well, I guess once the light goes out, we can go and switch the generator on for number 3. We'll see if it kicks in before or after it gets there. There you go. So it's suddenly creating power, which is good. Then we can put the air to on as well, and you can see the pressure coming up on the gauge over there. So it's all looking good so far. So we have power now to the aircraft basically, so Alt-2 brings us down, and we can put the master radio power on, and we can start talking to ATC at last. So let's go ahead and sit in the cockpit normally, and we'll pull up say intentions so I can show you how this works. It's rather clever actually. When you're looking at say intentions, you can see the airport you're at is indicated in the display, and if you click on any of the frequencies it will program the comm radio in the aeroplane for you. So it's a nice shortcut to be able to do that. Obviously you can still look them up on charts if you want to and use that route. But this is another way of doing it, which is quite nice. So we're going to go and talk to clearance first. Actually, before we do that, we're going to go to ATIS. So this is the Air Traffic Information Service.
Position level 145.
And we're looking for...
Arriving and departing runways 32 left, 32 right. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and
information November, that's what we're looking for.
Advise on initial contact, you have information November.
Okay, so it says advise on
Osaka
initial contact
Airport,
that you have information November. So when we make our first call to clearance, we'll be letting them know that, so they know that we know the up-to-date weather.
Visibility 6.
Okay, so we're going to go and tune over to clearance, and that will disappear. So our first call to clearance is just who we are. So we are KLM 073, and we are at Osaka, obviously. So we're going to be calling Osaka clearance that we're KLM 073 with information November. Okay, so let's try that out. Osaka clearance, KLM 073 with information November. And they should come back to us. This will be a good check. Good chance to check.
KLM 073, Osaka clearance, roger. Please state your destination, and if you require flight following or any specific departure instructions.
Okay. So that gives you the information on the display. So although you don't have to have this on the screen once you're up and running, it's quite nice if you're new to talking to ATC to be able to see this. So James is saying, hi, have I been watching the darts? No, I've been getting ready for this flight and washing up and doing other chores and working and doing everything else. Okay, so where were we? We're about to call ATC. So our next call to Air Traffic Services, it will be requesting clearance. So we're going to say who we are and what our intentions are. And so in other words, where we're wanting to fly. So we'll be saying we want IFR clearance to Nagasaki with our filed flight plan. I have filed the flight plan with Simbrief. Say intentions is integrated with Simbrief, so the controllers can see my flight plan as well. Okay? So we're going to go back to them and say Osaka clearance, KLM 073, IFR flight to Nagasaki, as filed.
I'll have you clearance. Just a second.
So these told me they'll have my clearance in a second, and we'll wait for it.
KLM 073. Information November is current. Cleared to Nagasaki. After departure, fly radar vectors to Tiger, then as filed. Departure runway 14 left. Initial climb to 3,000 feet. Departure on 120.45. Squawk 6346.
So now we have to repeat that back so they know that we've received the instructions correctly. Cleared to Nagasaki. After departure, fly radar vectors to Tiger, then as filed. Departure runway 14 left. Initial climb to 3,000 feet. Departure on 120.45. Squawk 6346. I'm just going to check that runway. That doesn't look right. Oh no, it's right. It's okay. Is that the same as I've got elsewhere?
KLM 073.
Yeah, it is.
Read back correct. Ground is on 121.7. Safe flight, sir.
So we've done clearance. Okay. So we can pull away from here and go over to ground, and we just talk to them as and when we need to. But we need to pay attention of the instructions. So our initial climb that we put into the altitude pre-selector will be 3,000, and then they'll clear us up higher from the controllers on the way. Okay. Right. So where did we get to with the checklist? So we put the radios on and we've got our clearance, and we can go and get on with everything else. So overhead, Alt and 1, go and put the emergency lights to armed. So they are at the bottom left somewhere. Here we go. windshield heating at the bottom right, we're going to say if outside air temperature is less than 20 centigrade, left and right to low, but we're going to put them to low anyway. So windshield heating is here. Going to, as a safeguard, put it on low. Cabin altitude, we're going to set the cruise altitude in the top window, so that's here. So we're going to fly at 28,000 feet, I think it was. Let me just go and double check that with Simbrief. Oh, it's 30,000 feet, okay. So we're going to up the cabin altitude to 30,000 feet. And there we go. And then we're going to go for the eyebrow panel. So we're going to zoom out, come down here. And we're going to put no smoking to on and fasten seatbelts to on. So sorry for the pregnant pauses, I'm looking across several screens here to look at my notes. So then we're going to go down into the cockpit of the MCP or Master Control Panel for the autopilot. And we're going to go and make sure Nav 1 and Nav 2 are set to DME. And in the flight director we're going to set it to heading mode initially. And again, in this aircraft, because of its age and vintage, the mode selector doesn't really have anything to do with the... This is the flight director, so that's the little yellow bars down here. It doesn't have anything to do with the autopilot. So, anyway. Pitch command to plus 10 degrees. So we can see that the flight director bars are moving up there. So it's just to give you a visual reference for climb out. And then we're going to go to course and set the courses as required if we need them. So if we go and have a look, we might as well set it for our first full leg. So we'll take off on GPS to fly the SID, and then we'll do some VOR hopping along the way. So our initial course will be 282 degrees on the actual route. So we're going the wrong way around the compass there. There we go. 282. And we can select Nav 1 or Nav 2 as required. We're not going to need it yet, so we don't really need to worry about that. Calibrate the altimeter, so I'm going to press comma to shortcut doing that. Uncage the standby attitude indicator. And we're going to select the altitude that we're climbing out to. So our initial altitude was 3,000 feet, if you remember. That's what we've been cleared up to initially, and then obviously we can follow instructions. Notice the bars across it, that's because the systems aren't on yet. We have to say a rate of climb, and auto will pull us out of the climb. I'll explain that when we're doing it. I'm not sure if we can switch this on before we get there. So if we go auto on this, yeah, it's not going to actually do anything, look, until you're actually flying. We could go and set the vertical speed mode though, and say give ourselves 1,500 feet a minute. Yeah, that won't power up yet until we've actually got everything up and running, until the autopilot's on. Okay, so flight management computer, shift and 1. This is going to be fun. So we're going to power it on. I don't think you can shortcut programming this, or at least I haven't had a good dig around in it yet. So we can accept the data, and then we can go into... Now I'm going to follow my own instructions from this to check if it actually works. I'm going to go to the flight plan page, yeah, and we're going to start programming it in. So we go 1 and we put in our departure airport. So it's going to be RJ00. And I've typed it wrong immediately. RJ00 is the ICAO code for Osaka, and press enter and it confirms it, and you can accept that. And then we don't put in all of the route. We put in Tiger, so Tiger 2 is the SID, Tiger will be the first waypoint. Okay, so we put in Tiger. Enter. And there's 3 of them. Let's just double check then where that is. So if we go into LittleNavMap, for example, and show information for Tiger, it's at 3440 and 135. So yeah, that's the correct one. Usually it will pull up the closest one to you, but it's worth double checking if there's more than one option. So after going to Tiger, we go to OYE or Kibi. So Oscar Yankee Echo is the ICO. There's only one of them, so it's going to be that one. Then to HGE, which is Hiroshima. HGE, enter. Hiroshima. Then Iwami, IME, enter. Iwami, accept. Then Ube Yamaguchi. So UBE, enter. Ube Yamaguchi, accept. And then OHGIE is the first waypoint of the star. I'm going to put it in. So OHGIE. Enter. And there's only one of them. Accept it. So then we can go, and we'll double check this to see if it doubles anything up afterwards. So we can go into the menu button and we can say I want to do the departure. So we're going to double check this. We're running 14 left and then the Tiger 2 departure. So we need to put in the index of 14 left, not 14 left. So number 1. And then Tiger 2 is number 6. And press enter. And do we have a transition involved? It's probably just Tiger if it's listed. There's 2 pages of them. No, it's just because it's got to the end of that page. I don't think there is one. So then if we go back to the flight plan. Oh no, sorry, we can skip past that, can't we? I think that will do it actually. Let's go and have a look. Yeah, it's put the bits and pieces in. So Tiger or has it? Let's go and have a look at the map. No, because we'd be expecting to see these waypoints. Well, maybe it has. 261, 292. Let's just check that. That looks like the right sort of angle. No, that's 230. There it is. So it's kind of doing it. So 142 is that one. 261. Oh, we'll see what it does. That's interesting that it's done it slightly differently. It may be that LittleNavMap's wrong, of course. Let's go and double check it against Navigraph. See what it's got. Yeah, it's drawn it completely differently, look. It's fascinating, isn't it? Anyway, we can go back to menu, we can go to arrivals, and we can program in our arrival. Oh, look at this. It hasn't got any arrivals for Nagasaki. Interesting. Oh, we haven't put it on the end, that's why. So we're going to go and select 10 and we're going to type in Nagasaki, RJFU. So backspace through that and go RJFU and enter and accept. And then if we go to menu and arrive, there we go, it's got the information for Nagasaki now. So we're coming into runway 32. Let's just double check this against, yeah, so runway 32 with the Fubuki star. Is that correct? I'm wondering if Simbrief is wrong here. So, okay, it is the Fubuki star. Normally stars have numbers in. So runway 32, let me just double check that again. Yes, runway 32. No, so number 2 and number 1. And we want ILS, so number 3 and enter. And do we have a transition? There aren't any. So we can go back to flight plan. So then if we go and have a look through it now, you can see suddenly, so there's our Ogi. Yeah, it understood, look, that Ogi was the beginning of the star, so it hasn't doubled it. That's all I was worried about. And there's all the waypoints in towards the runway. Okay. So we've got the basics into the flight management computer to steer the aeroplane. It doesn't really do VFR. You can put reference numbers in. They are purely for reference though, so we're not going to be using them. So after doing that, we can go overhead, or straight to the pedestal even, and we can put the nav lights on, which are over here. And on the ATC section, we're going to go and set what the controllers told us to do. So if you remember, they said Squawk 6346. So and we can set this to on already, and mode should go to C. I think it might be on it already. No, it isn't. There we go. So we are now going to prepare for engine start. Before we do that then, we're going to go and have a look. We want to talk to ground. I think we'd already tuned in ground, but we'll just go and click the frequency anyway, because it says ground here is 121.7. And then we're going to talk to ground, ask them for permission for engine start. Ground, KLM 073 requesting engine start. Before we do that,
KLM 073, engine start approved.
Before we do that, I'm just good. Just remembered, we're going to pull the flight plan into the aircraft and start the refueling to fuel it up. And we're doing this slightly out of order now, obviously. And start the boarding. And that should be instant as well.
Boarding is complete.
Okay, so that's that done. So we've got permission to start engines from the ground now. So we can go and we don't need to remove the chocks just yet. Engine gauges, so shift and 6. We're going to set the thrust index. I think it's automatically set, to be honest, according to your latitude when you get into the airplane. There's a book, or there's a load of numbers in the book. Default is 170 degrees at normal kind of weather ranges. But if you're operating in the cold or extreme heat, you need to go and look up the numbers basically, or at altitude, I should say. Click on the data card to set the V-speeds on the indicated airspeed. So if you're wanting to take off at a particular speed and a particular flap level, so say we went to flaps 18 and we want to go for 122, if you watch the... This is going to be difficult to do. We can do it watching the other way actually. So watch the markers on... Oh, that one hasn't got it on this side. It's only got it on the pilot side. Interesting. Or are they just stacked up on top of each other? I think they might be stacked up. So we'll go for 18 degrees flaps and say 122. Yeah, there they go, look. And the markers spread out across the indicated airspeed. So then, central pedestal. There we go. Gas lock needs to go down. It's over there. Anti-collision, top and bottom goes to on. So then we go to the forward part of the central pedestal with shift and 9, and the boost pumps for forward and aft, for left and right, need to go on. So here's the boost bumps. Then overhead, start master can go to on or up. So start master. And then we can do left engine start. So start selector to number 2. We just hold it across. And having done that for a second, we can look down and you will see the RPM coming up. Okay. When it gets to 15 to 20% on the RPM, which it's just doing, we can advance the fuel to start and it will go through the sequence completely automatically.
All aircraft information Papa is now current. QNH 1018.
So once the engine stabilizes, or once it gets to 50%, we can advance the lever the rest of the way. Just make sure I've got my parking brake on. You can hear the relays kick over there as it transferred power away from the APU towards the engines. So when it gets to 50, we can advance it and it will carry on, and that's good to go. So then we can go and start the other engine. So if you look overhead, see if we can find the switch without using the view. There it is. Flick it over to number 1, the starter comes on again. So it's using air from the APU, basically. So there we go, the RPM is slowly climbing on engine number 1. When it gets to between 15 and 20%, we can advance the fuel control lever. And it will continue on round towards 50%, and then we can advance it the rest of the way. Okay, we're getting there. So after engine start, we have some other bits and pieces to go do. So we're going to go and turn the start master to off. We're going to turn Gen 3 to off because you heard earlier the generator is not needed anymore. The engines have taken over with power generation. Air can come off. The main switch can go to off, and we can switch on the other air conditioning system. So then we can go down to engine anti-icing, so 4th column at the bottom. It's over here, and we can put both of them to auto. Then we can go to the windshield heating, which we'd already put to low earlier, we're just double checking it. Then pitot and vane heating, both to on or up. And we are preparing for taxi. So if we go and have a look, we can go and now this is always a bit dodgy with the Airbus controller, getting it to go to the right angle. There we go, there's 18 degrees, I think it's marked as 18, yes it is. So we can see that. I think they're quite fast travelling the flaps. Yeah, they've already got there, look. We're going to go set the trim as required, and it's usually 5 units of nose up. You can see, here we go, so you can see it here, look. So we'll leave it at 5 units of nose up. Taxi lights to on or forwards, so they're down here, taxi lights to on. And we can prepare now for taxi, so we need to talk to ground again. So we go and get the head tracking working. Also, let's go and acquaint ourselves with the layout of the airfield. So we'll pull up the Osaka information. Now we already know which runway we're taking off on, don't we? Runway 32. This is saying 32 right. Is that correct? This says 14 left. Oh, sorry, that's the other end of it, isn't it? Of course, that's 14 left. Of course it is. This is what happens when I record things late at night and after a long day. So we're going to be turning left. So we're going to taxi to 14 left. That's what we need to know to talk to ground. So we already tuned to ground a few moments ago. Ground KLM 073 requesting taxi to runway 32 left.
KLM 073, taxi to runway 32 left, via Echo 3, Echo 2, Echo 3, Echo 2, Echo 1, Charlie 1, Bravo 4, Bravo 3, Bravo 2, Bravo 1, Whiskey 1. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready for departure.
I asked for the wrong runway, didn't I? Correction, ground KLM 073 requesting taxi to runway 14 left. That's interesting. They told me it regardless.
KLM 073, runway 4 left is unavailable. Available runways are 32 left and 32 right. Please advise your preferred runway.
Preferred runway is runway 14 left. The wind has changed, obviously. I'm not going to go and reprogram.
KLM 073, runway 14 left approved. Taxi via Echo 3, Echo 2, Echo 1, Charlie 1, Bravo 4, Bravo 3, Bravo 2, Bravo 1, Whiskey 1. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready for departure.
Why are they doing that to us? We'll contact tower on when ready for departure 073, thank you. So we're going to ignore their taxi instruction because I think it's a bit crazy. And we're just going to straight line it down the airport. No, that will be why. You can't see it on LittleNavMap, there's a building in the way. So they are sending us all over the place. So just before we go anywhere then, let's double check that. So they said Echo 3, Echo 2, Echo 1. So from where we are, they want us to go all the way down here. Then Charlie 1, Bravo 4, Bravo 3. Charlie 1, Bravo 4, Bravo 3, Bravo 2, Bravo 1, Whiskey 1. That's for 32 left. Yeah, it's got confused, hasn't it? So what we're going to do is double back on ourselves and go along Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, Alpha 5. Okay. We're going to ignore its instruction. It's got it wrong. So AI is great until it isn't. Should have a look from outside. We're going to go the same direction he's going. Same direction all of them are going, by the look of it. We have got some,
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
yeah, some enunciations that are quite cool.
Cabin is secured for departure.
So you can see there's 2 rows of taxiways. They're not really marked very well on the map, so we can zigzag across and go for the others. Get away from all of the other aircraft. So we don't have to talk to ground again. We can switch to tower while we're taxiing. So we're going to go to tower frequency 118.10, and we'll hold short at the runway and then inform tower what we're doing. So I'm just going to turn head tracking off so I can check stuff along the way. That's nice that they've all got out of my way. That doesn't happen very often. I was just thinking we're going to have to sit here in the queue for a few minutes, but maybe we won't. Whoa, what's happening to the brakes? I'm just gonna...
Nippon 7 Papa Foxtrot, contact departure.
I've got no brakes.
Contact departure on 120.45, all Nippon 7 Papa Foxtrot.
What is going on? That's taking a long time to load. It's got the correct profile. Search by input. Brakes. Okay. No, I have no brakes. So that's going to be something I've missed with the aeroplane. I'm going to double back onto the taxiway. Interesting. Is there something I haven't pressurized? Yeah, the parking brakes aren't working either, which means that there's something in the aeroplane going on. So let's go and press escape for a moment, and I need to go to the documentation for it, don't I? So community, and it's the F28. Can we find it even? It's JustFlight, isn't it? There we go. Documents. That's the EFB manual. That's not the one I want. I want this one. Hydraulic power system. This will be what's wrong. So I'm going to cheat slightly to save us a load of time. Obviously I've missed something. I'll have to do some research on this of what I've missed. So Shift and 1, Shift and 2, 3. This is their crazy views, isn't it? Alt and 1 is my own overhead view. Secondary instrument panel. It's down here. Full. They're all looking good. Why do I have no brakes? So just out of interest then, to see if it'll fix it, it might be a bug. Remember, this is version 1 of this aeroplane. So we're going to say ready for takeoff. Confirm.
Ready for takeoff selected.
And I still don't have any brakes. I'm going to pull the joystick and plug it back in again. Still no brakes. So this should be fun when we get to the other end then. How strange. So we've got hydraulic power, but we've got no brakes. You can see the brakes are operating here, but nothing's happening with the aeroplane. Anyway, let's just go and busy ourselves then. It may be a bug. So we want the damping to be... Damping is already on. Oh, of course, we've pressed the button, haven't we, to change the state? So it's already done the final few checks. It's put the strobes on, probably. So strobes are on. It's put the landing lights on across the board. It's turned the taxi light off, funnily enough. Has it put it's put the weather radar on as well, and has it put the transponder onto? It hasn't done that yet. So transponder is now on. We can't actually stop. This is rather frustrating. So let's pull the yoke out of the way. Still no brakes. Nope, nothing. Okay, I'm just going to ask for takeoff permission. So let's go and get back out of here. That's an interesting one, isn't it? I think it's a bug. I'm pretty sure it's a bug. I'm trying to think what else could cause it. Very, very weird. Osaka Tower KLM 073 lined up runway 14 left for departure. Has it now killed the... That looks like... Can we even key the mic? It's not keying, is it? I'm going to have to... I wonder when I pulled the joystick if it's messed up. Pilot, run buttons, com radio. I'm just keying the microphone, nothing's happening. I'm going to restart say intentions. Everything's going wrong. We may have to do this without the I wonder if it's something with that conflicting. I don't know. At least you get to see these things go wrong on my channel, hey? So it's remembered everything. And we can talk again. Yeah, so pulling the controller messed it up. So I can key the microphone now. Okay, so Osaka Tower, KLM 073 lined up runway 14 left for immediate departure.
Column 73, Osaka Tower, runway 14 left. Winds 325 at 3, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, 073, copy the wind.
Power set.
Already done that.
Flaps up.
Flaps up. Okay.
Descend. Descend. Descend.
Set climb power.
KLM 073. Contact departure on 120.45.
Contacting departure 120.45, KLM 073. Osaka departures, KLM 073 with you.
KLM 73, Kansai departure. Not seeing you on radar. Cycle your transponder and ident again for me.
I've climbed through the 3,000 feet immediately as well. Oh, of course this will reset it, hasn't it? Oh, that's great. So it's going straight for 10,000 feet. Okay, we've blown that immediately. This is what happens when you when things start to go wrong. It undoes all the work you've already done. Not seeing on radar. Cycle transponder ident for me. Okay, so let's come down to here and press ident. Oh, it's lost the frequency as well. That will be why. So, what was the frequency they gave us earlier? 6345. So it's undone everything we had done, which is great. Kansai departure, KLM 073, cycle to transponder. So this should come out to 10,000 and hit height mode. And it's doing it. Great. So although we haven't obeyed the 3,000 feet initial climb, because of the reset, with the aeroplane going a bit screwy on us, it's lit up with the altitude pre-select. So Kensai departure KLM 073 requesting flight following with flight as filed.
KLM 073. Flight following is on request. Squawk 6346, then ident.
6346 and then ident. 6346 and ident.
Kalam 073. Radar contact. 9 miles southwest of Osaka at 10,000 feet. Heading 252. Osaka QNH 1022. Clear direct, Tiger.
Clear direct Tiger KLM 073. Requesting climb to cruise 073.
KLM 073, climb altitude 7300.
Yeah, it's just overspeeded and blown the airplane up. You know what? I'm going to restart it and see if we can get the brakes working. We had so many things go wrong, and hitting the restart in the airplane blew the flight basically. Sometimes these things happen. For whatever reason, I think I know. I think I've just noticed what may have done it. Has this got failures? I think, and this is a guess, I've got another axis set to the brakes to solve a bug in Flight Simulator, and it had been knocked slightly forwards. I wonder if we had run the brakes out of... Yeah, if you hold the brakes on for too long, I wonder if you can fail them. Where would it be? Settings, checklist. Does it have failures in here? Not sure that it does. But I wonder if that had something to do with it. So I'll put ourselves back on the ground and we will start over. Go back to clearance. It would make sense, otherwise we're just going to be fighting it all the way and trying to undo things that have gone wrong, where the aeroplane was a default state and it wasn't as it should have been. Okay, so overhead we're going to stick the battery on. APU main on. Left air conditioning on. APU, we have to wait a few seconds. Oh, we can start it. And then when it gets to 100%, we can spin up generator number 3. So yeah, as soon as we get the airplane up and going, I want to try the parking brakes out again. So 100% Gen 3. So air can come on. I put the master radios on. And we have to go to ATIS first to get the information. Information Papa.
QNH 1018. Density altitude -1300 feet. Transition level 1.
Okay, so we go to clearance. Osaka clearance, KLM 073 with you with information Papa.
KLM 073, Osaka clearance. Roger.
Osaka clearance, KLM 073 requesting clearance from Osaka to Nagasaki as filed. So we just have to wait for them for a few moments to give us clearance, and then we can get on with doing what we need to do.
Column 073. Information Papa is current. Cleared to Nagasaki. After departure, fly radar vectors to Tiger, then as filed. Departure runway 14 left. Initial climb to 3,000 feet. Departure on 120.45. Squawk 3345.
Cleared to Nagasaki. After departure, fly radar vectors to Tiger, then as filed. Departure runway 14 left. Initial climb 3,000 feet. Departure on 120.45. Squawk 3345. KLM 073. So they should tell us if readback is correct, and then we can get on with it.
KLM 073. Readback correct. Contact ground on 121.7 when ready.
Okay, so we can take our time now. Should we do the frequency immediately? So 3345. So we'll go and put this on standby, and we'll go and... Have you noticed that's really blurry unless you're close to it? We'll also go and set the altitude pre-selector to 3,000 feet, even though we don't use it yet. Oh, it's there, isn't it? That's the QNH. 3,000 feet. It's got acceleration built into it. That's interesting. Which isn't a bad thing, because when you want to take it up to 30,000 feet, it'll become a problem otherwise. So, overhead. Emergency lights to armed. Windshield heating to low. Cabin altitude, go and set it for our flight, which was 300, wasn't it? So... before we go much further, let's go into here and pretend we're going to get the passengers on board. So we'll come in via the OFP, fetch our OFP from Simbrief, come back into the aeroplane and import the payload, start the refueling to do it instantly. That's that done. Start the boarding. To do it instantly. Okay, so now we have some people on board and the fuel done, which I haven't got in my checklist actually. I ought to put it in there. So back overhead, we're going to go and set the no smoking and fasten seatbelt signs to on. Master control panel, shift and 5. I'm going to say nav 1 and nav 2 to DME mode. Flight director to heading, and then set the pitch to 10 degrees for a guide for takeoff. We won't really need it, but there we go. Heading as required. So again, you can set this as a backup, so you're looking at here, so we're taking off runway 14, so you would typically go and spin that round. I didn't do this last time, did I? So you'd set it to 140 degrees just as a reference, so if you need to go to heading mode during climb out, you can. Set the nav courses as required if you need to. So again, the normal thing you might do is set them to 140, to be honest, but we said looking at the route, let's go and clear the route out there. We might put it to 28. You can't. It's 282 degrees, isn't it, for the first major part of the route. That acceleration really is a bit of a so-and-so.
Osaka clearance, GPS 5067, requesting IFR clearance to Romeo Kilo Tango November.
So we've set our initial climb altitude already. So then we're going to go down to the computer. We're going to go and reprogram it, which is a bit of a so-and-so, but it doesn't take long. So let's go and look up the numbers again. We're taking off from RJ00. So we accept the numbers, go to flight plan, number 1, RJ00, enter, Osaka, accept. And then we're taking off, we're going to, OHGIE. Enter, accept, and then we're going to, actually no we're not, are we? We're going to Tiger and then OYE. Let's see if we can change that then. So can we just backspace through that? TIGER, enter, Tiger. There's one of 3 and we checked earlier, I think. If we show information for Tiger, it's 34 and 135. Yeah, that's correct. Accept. And of course it's moved this one down. Can we get rid of that then? Delete. Delete. There we go. So Tiger, then OYE. So OYE, enter, accept. Then Hiroshima, HGE, HGE, enter, Hiroshima. Iwami, IME. Iwami, accept. Ube Yamaguchi, UBE, enter, Ube Yamaguchi, accept. Then OHGIE is the beginning of the star. OHGIE. And there's only one of them, accept it. Okay, and then we have to put the airport on the end, which I forgot last time. RJFU. Enter. Nagasaki, accept. So then we can go to menu and we can do departure and we can say how we are leaving Osaka. So 14 left and the Tiger 2 standard instrument departure. 14 left is number 1. Enter. And Tiger 2 is number 6. Enter. And we said earlier, didn't we, that there isn't a transition we need to worry about. So we'll go flight plan. So that's put the initial steps in to get to Tiger. And then we can go menu and arrive into Nagasaki, and we want to come in runway 32 and using the Fubuki star and then ILSZ. So runway 32 is number 2, Fubuki is number 1, and ILS is number 3. And there's no transitions. So that's that done. Hurrah! Finally. So we'll have a look at these switches again. I'm just reading the comments there in the live stream. We'll have a look at these switches. I suspect that when I fired the airplane up, one of the switches on my joystick was in the wrong position, and it drained the cylinders, or or blew a valve or something like that, because it was essentially sat with the brake on continually.
For departure, then I filed depart runway 14 right, climb to 11,000 feet, departure on 119.
So we've programmed the flight management computer. We don't need to worry about that anymore. So we're going to go over to here. We're going to make sure this is on mode C as well, remember. Go over to the tablet. We've done boarding, we've done everything else. We could remove the chocks away from the aeroplane. So shift 6 takes us over to the engine gauges, so where we would go and set the thrust index if we needed to. We're going to leave it, but we are going to go and select the flaps 18 takeoff, which will put the markers on the indicated airspeed for the callouts. So then gust lock removed, Anti-collision lights come on. So shifter 9 will take us further forwards. The booster pumps need to go on. Start master goes to on. And we have effectively got to engine start at this point. So we need to talk to ground. So if we go and tune ground now, 121.7, because we are ready. Ground KLM 073 requesting engine start.
KLM 073, engine start approved.
So, engine number 2, waiting for the RPM to come up. And once it's past 15%, we can move the fuel control to start. Starts flashing, and you'll see the interturbine or turbine gas temperature go up. Obviously PSI is increasing now. You'll hear a clunk in a moment as the relays switch over the power to the engine. There it goes. So we should be able to, if we look overhead, go and switch engine number 1 on. Starter kicks in, diverts the air from the aeroplane to the engine to spin it up. So it's spinning it up, and then we can introduce fuel when it gets to 15% of nominal speed. There we go, fuel comes in, gets lit. So temperature comes up. Very good. So I'm guessing, although they're not marked as such, that this is N2 in Boeing terms and this is N1. This is the turbofan speed. I'm guessing. Okay, they can both go to flight. So engines are running. So overhead we can go and turn start master to off. Then Gen 3 can come off. Air can come off. Let's zoom in a bit so we can see this a bit better. And main can come off, and then we can switch on the right hand main air conditioning switch. And anti-icing for the engines can go to auto. Windshield heating is already on low. Pitot heats and vane heating can go to on or up. In the cockpit we go and set our takeoff flaps, which is now working a lot better than it did earlier. We go and put the taxi lights on, and this is where we find out if there's a bug in the sim or if we've got a problem, or yeah, if there's a control problem even. So let's go and request a taxi to runway 14 left, isn't it? Osaka ground KLM 073 requesting taxi to runway 14 left. Are they going to say no again?
KLM 073, taxi to runway 14 left via Echo 3, Echo 4, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, Alpha 5, Charlie 7. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready for departure.
Taxi to runway 14 left via Echo 3, Echo 4, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, Alpha 5, Charlie 7, contact tower 118.1 when ready. KLM 073. So they want us to basically go as far as Echo 4 and then over to Alpha, so almost double back on ourselves. So this is where we find out if we have a problem. So off the brakes, I'm going to spin the airplane round, and we have no brakes. This is a control problem. We have no parking brake either. What on earth is going on? There's the park brake. It's doing nothing to the aeroplane. So, Cyclone says in the middle guarded switch to the right of the yoke and the pressure is the lower 2 gauges in view when looking at the switch. That's so hydraulic pressure is looking good. We're 3. These are all looking good. Fluid is almost full. Hydraulic fluid is almost full. Hydraulic pressure is good. I think it's a bug. Try the pump. Yeah, what, the electric pump? What does the instructions say about the pumps? Just make sure we're not creeping forwards. I wonder if there's... has this got state saving around failures? We already looked in here, didn't we? Charts, maps, checklist, settings. That's just the tablet settings. Aircraft. I thought I'd already done this. Why is it? No, that knows the passengers are on. Why is it flashing? Very weird, isn't it? Should we go and put the APU back on and see if it makes a difference then? So main. I can't think that it would. We'll just wait for the APU to come back up and then we'll turn the air on from it. But we're talking about hydraulics, not air. And this has got pneumatic brakes, of course. We may have to turn off one of the... yeah, let's try it anyway. So if we... it's just odd that I've got no parking brake either. No, it's made no difference. No brakes. And you can see, oh hang on, what's going on with that? It's still creeping. I think it might be a bug in the simulate. I've not seen it before. It's always worked in the past. It probably will be, if we restart the sim, it will be absolutely fine. So let's go and do that. I'm going to shortcut it the next time. We'll get the airplane ready for takeoff immediately. So you're seeing a huge testing session now, basically. So quit to desktop. And we'll just restart the sim, and it'll probably be fine. Make sure it's actually gone. Put things into name order. Has Flight Simulator actually gone? Yes, it has. So apologise for this taking, we've used an hour up so far of not getting very far at all, which is interesting. This is the risks of doing live streams, isn't it? We're going to get really good at starting the airplane up there, hey? Well, except I'm going to cheat this time and go for ready for takeoff immediately, and we'll just we'll talk to tower when we get to the runway. Oh, we'll have to do clearance, I guess. But we'll shortcut clearance as well. It'd be interesting to see what we can shortcut. I don't know why they bother with this video. If you install the SDK, you can get another program that launches Flight Simulator without any of the videos. I need to try that. I think it'd be quite useful. It gets rid of all the splash screens as well. They should have an option, shouldn't they? Just an application that just gives you a readout. Like Linux booting up, telling you exactly what's happening. You know, just a console view. Okay, so free flight. F28 4000 from RJOO, Osaka. So we were parked somewhere over here, weren't we? There's a fuel box. We don't want to be on the fuel box. Should we put ourselves on? See, look, it hasn't loaded the buildings, look. Here they come. It's just loading them in. Let's put ourselves on this side this time. Start flight. Sim's about to crash. Oh no, maybe not. Oh, it's going to. I think we've tried our luck a bit too much, haven't we? Bang. Oh dear. Is it still running? I'm going to try once more. If it doesn't work, we're going to call it and I'll just delete the live stream, because this was not fun. And we'll all get an hour of our life back. Let's see what happens. It's all fun and games, isn't it? Come on, Flight Simulator, sort your life out. Oh, the Mad Dog's fantastic. Just reading the live stream comments there from Cyclone. Yeah, the MD-80 family are fantastic in the simulator. The Leonardo simulation of them is very, very good. Okay, so it should smooth out now. Free flight. Departure from RJOO, Osaka International. Let's try one more time, and if it doesn't work, it's just not going to work for us today, and we'll try another day. Probably with a different aeroplane, but set as departure. Start flight. So you notice it zooms out if it hasn't got the scenery to show it sensibly. This is looking a bit smoother, isn't it? Obviously it's a stock airport, so it's not going to look great. It's still loading the assets in. Look, you can see them appearing. And then go and jump in. Shift C, isn't it? The controller will straighten up as it loads. There we go. The tablet's loaded. So we're going to shortcut as much as we can. So what we'll do is start the boarding. Actually, before we do
boarding is complete.
Go to OFP, pull the OFP in so it remembers it from Simbrief, which is fine. Aircraft, import, start refueling. Refueling is complete. Start boarding. Boarding is complete. So then to shortcut the whole startup sequence, we're going to say get us ready for takeoff immediately.
Ready for takeoff selected.
And then obviously we'll have to sit and wait for things to come online. You'll see switches and dials flicking all over the cockpit. We'll go talk to clearance while we're waiting for that to happen. Before we do that, we need to go ATIS Papa. Okay, we're still on Papa, which is good.
2.1.
Osaka clearance KLM 073 with information Papa.
Column 73, Osaka clearance. Information Quebec is current. Winds calm. QNH 1018. Cleared for departure from Osaka. Expect runway. 32 left. Departure frequency 120.45. Squawk 4667.
So that's interesting. They've told us that when we haven't told them that we've got a flight plan yet or where we're going. Normally, just giving them the information. Yeah, they're giving us an expected runway. We're going to go for runway 14 there. We're going to ignore that. The wind's obviously in between the two at the moment. So, Osaka clearance KLM 073 requesting clearance from Osaka to Nagasaki as filed.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
It may have already outdated the flight. It might have done that because the plan is so old now.
Column 073. Information Quebec is current. Cleared to Nagasaki. After departure, fly the Tiger to departure,
this time.
then as filed. Departure runway 32
Oh
left.
look, an aeroplane is
Climb
coming through the
3,000
cockpit.
feet. Departure
Wonderful.
on 120.45 squawk, 4667.
Cleared to Nagasaki. After departure, fly the Tiger to departure, then as filed. Departure runway 32 left. That's wrong. Climb 3,000 feet. Departure 120.45 squawk 4667. KLM 073.
KLM 073, read back correct. Ground will be on 121.7.
Okay, so we can go.
FedEx 5067 requesting Alpha clearance.
So what we're going to do is go into settings and get rid of that aeroplane. Online multiplayer is off. Real-time online, we're going to go into off, save and back.
All Nippon 18 requesting IFR clearance to Tokyo Haneda. We do have information.
Okay. So we've got
U123 engine start approved.
our clearance. The engines are already up and running. We ought to go and put the flight plan in and set the flaps. So, one more time. And now, of course, this has now given up the ghost as well. And yeah, where the simulator crashed, it took LittleNavMap with it. Or took its connection to LittleNavMap with it, I should say. I wouldn't mind betting that Navigraph has had the same thing happen to it. Yes, so if we go connect, that's worked. Okay. So we accept. And go to flight plan. Number 1, RJ00. I'll be getting good at programming this in, won't I? And then we go to Tiger. Accept. OYE. Oscar. Yankee. Echo. Enter. Kibi. Accept. HGE for Hiroshima. So HGE. Enter. Accept. IME. Iwami. Accept. Ubei. Accept. Then OHGIE. Accept. And then Nagasaki RJFU. RJFU. Enter. Accept. And then we can go menu and departures. Departing on runway 14 left, so 1. Enter. Tiger 2 is 6. Enter. We have no transition on the way out, so we just go back to flight plan. Then we go menu, arrive. Just double check it. 3-2 on the Fubuki. So number 2. Enter. Fubuki is number 1. And ILSZ is number 3. And there is no transition, so we can go back to the flight plan and we can see it. So we may as well go to the nav page now. Okay, so that's done. Let's go and program the transponder.
Clearance.
4667.
18 IFR clearance to Tokyo. We have information pop-up.
Put it on mode C. Turn it on.
Clear to Tokyo after departure. Fly radar vectors to Asuka, then is filed. Departure runway 32 left, initial climb to 3,000 feet. Departure on
let's just go and double check what they have switched on. So obviously landing lights we don't need them just yet.
And 18.
I'm going to put the taxi lights on because remember we went and told it to configure the airplane for takeoff. Strobes can come off.
IFR clearance to Romeo Kilo Tango November.
Engines are already running, so before we do anything, we're not going to ask for start, we're just going to ask for pushback. We're still on ground. Are we on ground yet? Did we switch frequencies yet? Ground will be 1217. Osaka ground, KLM 073 requesting pushback.
KLM 073, pushback approved. Face northwest.
So this does actually have some pushback controls in here, so you can use it to govern the pushback. Okay, take the parking brake off. Now that's a good sign. Yeah, it's going the wrong way. So let's ask it to connect in here. I love it when the sim goes wrong. Yeah, we're going to give up on that. The pushback is hilariously broken a lot of the time. So parking brake is off at the moment. I'll just push us around in a circle. I don't know what that cone's doing. Because I haven't removed the chocks, have I? Oh no, I had. I think I have brakes this time, but there's a flying cone. Oh, it's in the air. Oh, it's a bug in the airport, isn't it? So we'll give up on the broken pushback. We have a levitating cone. These things are sent to try us. But I think we have brakes this time. Let's try it. Yep, we have brakes. Hurrah! Persistence pays off, doesn't it? Eventually. So, now we've got out of away from the terminal. Osaka ground, KLM 073 requesting taxi to runway 14 left.
KLM 073, taxi to runway 14 left, via Alpha 4, Alpha 5, Charlie 7, contact tower on 118.1, when ready for departure.
Taxi runway 14 left via Alpha 4, Alpha 5, Charlie 7, contact tower 118.1 when ready for departure, KLM 073. There we go. So it's not arguing with us this time. The wind must be whistling around and changing just over the limit to take off 14 left, because we heard them earlier deny 14 left, didn't we? Which is really good. That means say intention is starting to enforce rules, which I don't think it used to do. So it would be really good if it started doing things like busting the transition levels and stuff like that, you know, and telling you off for not following the flight plan accurately. So if you start to deviate from it. So the flight should be, famous last words, should be quite straightforward now. So we've got the guidance systems in GPS mode, which means they're going to follow the lateral track when we switch on beam on the autopilot. So as soon as we're off the runway, it's set the speeds as well as part of the automated start sequence. I'm just checking around to see what it has done and what it hasn't. So let's go and have a look. We want to set the heading bug to 140 degrees, don't we? Which is, unsurprisingly, the reciprocal of the direction we're going. And these were 280 degrees, weren't they, earlier? Was it 282? I seem to remember. Something like that, but it'd be close enough for the moment. So while we're taxiing, let's go and see what they've done. So yeah, some DME mode on the nav radios, which is good.
KLM 073, contact tower on 118.1, have a good morning.
Contact tower what was the frequency? Sorry, 118.1, good morning. So Arnold is saying about using the hydraulic pumps to build pressure. The interesting thing is, though, I had it was a bug, because if I operated the parking brake, the lever didn't move. If I do it now, oh, it's still not moving. That's a bug. But no, we were operating the brakes and it was having no effect. We had pressure. So it wasn't an issue with that. It was really odd. Anyway, we need to go and contact tower. Osaka Tower, KLM 073 at holding point, runway 14 left.
Column 73, Osaka Tower, winds calm, runway 14 left, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 14 left, copy winds, KLM 073. So we need to go and switch the lights on, don't we, in a moment. So I'll just go and taxi up to the apron, sit on the piano keys for a moment, parking brake back on. And I think we're good to go. Transponder was on, wasn't it? They would have complained at us already about that. So I'm going to turn the head tracking off just during takeoff, because I'm going to need to look down very quickly and turn the autopilot on. Let's get the handles out of the way. So let's go and reacquaint ourselves. Now everything's working, finally, with the Tiger departure. So it's going to do an immediate right turn. So we haven't got much time to get the airplane stabilized in the climb. So let's go and pre-select then about 2,000 feet a minute. Did they give us an initial climb altitude? No. But they did tell us to go to Tiger. Oh no, 3,000 feet, it was 3,000 feet. So we need to go and do that. That will be wrong. This is the only problem when you do shortcut things. You have to work backwards and go and make sure everything else is right again. Okay. We were given clearance to take off. We will use our clearance to take off.
Power set.
All aircraft information. Romeo is now current. QNH 1018.
80 knots. Rotate.
The wind is getting up.
Positive climb. Gear up.
So what we're going to do,
Flaps 11. Flaps up.
there we go. Just keep it on the speed.
KLM 073. Contact departure on 120.45.
Contacting departure 120.45 KLM 073. Departures KLM 073 departing Osaka for Nagasaki as filed.
Column 73, Kansai departure, radar contact. Clear direct Tiger. Climb flight level 200.
Climb flight level 200 KLM 073. So we've been given immediate clearance to go straight for 20,000 feet. If I can do it. There we go. So auto is on, it's on vertical speed mode, it's doing 2,000 feet a minute. We're climbing, accelerating out towards 250 knots. This does have a reference marker, so you can leave it on here. I don't think it has anything to do with the systems, it's just for visual reference. Because indicated airspeed mode picks up the speed you're doing at the time you engage it. So we're climbing out. We need to check the transition altitude. 14,000 feet. Which is going to be a little while yet. So next thing for us will be at 10,000 feet. We'll go and raise the, switch off the landing lights. Finally, after an hour and a half of messing around with a broken simulator, everything seems to be working. Only took us an hour. So while that's happening, let's go and have a look and try some of this stuff out. I updated all the Navigraph bits and pieces the other day, so I wonder if the charts will work properly.
KLM 073, climb flight level 240.
Climbing flight level 240 KLM 073. It's going to take us a while to get there. We're not the fastest climbing thing in the world. We're climbing at 2,000 feet a minute at the moment. I've got the engines wound back a little bit. Let's go and push them on. How airplane's turning. Let's see how well it's tracking the course then. If we go and look on Navigraph, it's doing pretty well, isn't it? It cut closer across here though. It didn't follow Tiger 2 as drawn, which was, we kind of knew it wouldn't because the waypoints weren't the same. What's LittleNavMap saying about it? So there's our taxi out. Yeah, look, it hadn't got that intermediate waypoint, but now it's picking it up as it should have. So just coming up to 10,000 feet, so landing lights can come off when you're within 500 feet, usually. And we're good. So 14,000 feet was transition level, so when we get there we'll go and retune the barometric pressure on the altimeters to 2992. So someone's asking about the VOR lock mode. That's only for the flight director, and there's no connection between it and the autopilot. So yeah, you can go switch it on if you want. It just means that the bars will match up. So the yellow markers.
Climb flight level 2990.
Climb flight level 2990. KLM 073. They're being a bit presumptuous with that, aren't they? The plane just got through 10,000 feet. They think we're some sort of rocket ship. So we're holding on to 200 knots in the climb. This isn't the fastest climbing thing in the world, which is why we're being a little bit careful about this. So let's go for a slower climb rate for a moment to get the speed up to 250. And then we'll hold it on indicated airspeed mode for a while and see how high we get. Trying to give it a chance to speed up. It's not accelerating very quickly, is it? Trouble is, I don't want to go and thrash the engines and damage them. I don't know if it simulates that or not. Take it right up to the edge of 100% power. Throttles aren't against the stops, but they nearly are. Yeah, still not accelerating much, is it? That's pushing the turbofans past 100%, which is not ideal. So we've just come through 14,000 feet, so 2992 on the... Now, is it the same on both sides? Yes, it is. Do we have a standby attitude indicator in here? I don't think we do we? Yeah, so getting back to this, the flight director commands.
KLM 073, climb flight level 300.
Climb flight level 300, KLM 073. So those should leave us alone now. Even though we're only at 15,000. That needs looking at, doesn't it, in its logic. It's a bit odd. So we're going out towards this VOR. We can start playing with VORs, can't we? 111.0. That'll keep us busy on the way, won't it?
KLM 073, contact Fukuoka, control on 120.9er, 75.
Contacting Fukuoka control 120.975, KLM 073. Fukuoka control, KLM 073 with you at 16,000 feet, climbing to flight level 300. I should have said flight level 160.
KLM 73, Fukuoka control identified. Good morning.
There we go. Yeah, we got away eventually, Ed. It was a lesson in patience, wasn't it, on the ground? Why have we got a warning on the... Oh, it's getting too slow. Okay. Let's go and... This is the danger if you don't use vertical speed mode. Sorry, if you don't use speed mode. This is why you shouldn't get distracted if you're using... Yeah, make sure that it is on. I'm just going to cycle it. So you can see the pitch coming down. And the speed is gently coming up. Okay, we're going to level the aeroplane out and do a step climb. We want the speed to come up. Unfortunately, this aeroplane's a bit rubbish at climbing. So we'll let it accelerate for a while. If we put altitude hold on, it will level itself out, and you'll see the speed come up. You can see it's gently moving over here. In other news, we tuned in the radios. So if we set the course we want to be flying towards it on, which was it 282? Yes, it was 282 degrees. So remember we did that earlier, so it matches. So then we can go and press this button over here to go to nav radio mode. We've got 47 miles to run. And it's in beam mode over here. We can bring the heading bug round to match it, just in case we need to. So it's tracking now the radio beacon instead of the GPS track. In this aeroplane, if you go and look on the flight plan page, you can see the next, or the one it thinks it's at next.
KLM 73, Fukuoka Control. I need you at flight level 300, sir.
Climbing to 300,073. So we're up to 250 knots now. So let's go indicated airspeed mode. So it's going to try and hold 250, which is the better mode to be climbing in. So we can use all the power we've got to get there, and the aeroplane will just do the best climb rate it can. So at the moment it's going for 1,000 feet a minute, look. But I'm loath to go any faster than that, because look at the needles. We have got a little bit of room left on the throttle, not much, but just this aeroplane is not the best at climbing. So we got distance measuring equipment is showing 40 miles to the next waypoint.
1 second for that clearance.
So we can switch nav 2 over to 11790 in preparation for it. And then we can play the game of switching between nav 1 and nav 2 as we go through the beacons. So we want 11790 on nav 2. Okay. And the distance, we can check the ranges, can't we? So the Kibi VOR has a range of 130 miles. That's going to make this easy then, isn't it? The next one, show information for the VOR. 130, yeah, there's no point showing the range rings then. We can basically switch straight to them, never having to worry. I think they're all going to be similar, aren't they? 130. 130, yeah, it's not a problem. Did this actually go to active mode? It did, didn't it? So we irradiated everybody on the ground when we were taxiing. It's a bit of a shame, but... So Robert's saying raise flaps. Oh, it's stuck. My flap lever's all the way forwards. Yeah, remember I said when we got in the aeroplane? That would be why we weren't picking speed up very easily. So it's gone for 2,000 feet now. Remember when I said when I was trying to set it earlier, the Airbus quadrant doesn't get on well with this aeroplane. And that just happened. My flap lever was all the way forwards, and it got stuck at 6 degrees for whatever reason. And again, that's my bad for not looking. I should know better than that with the Airbus quadrant with this aeroplane. It can be really finicky. So yeah, great shout, Robert. Thanks for that. Thanks for spotting it. Again, I should have seen it over there as well. "26 miles to run." And we're climbing now at a steady climb rate in indicated airspeed mode. It's about 1,400 feet a minute. So it's leveled out. Like I said, this aeroplane doesn't climb wonderfully. I wonder what the never exceed speed is for the flaps. Is it in the documentation maybe? Down towards the end, won't it? If it isn't it.
Air Canada 3586, I need you at flight level 390, sir.
Plane is not responding, sir. I'm trying to make it respond.
Listen, via Habik, Japan Air 2088. Habik arrival, runway 32 left, Japan Air 2088.
I don't think it's got the limits unless I just didn't see them. I'll have another look another day when I've got some time to have a proper read. You say it climbs pretty well. Look, it's climbing just over 1,000 feet a minute. It was climbing at 1,000 feet a minute with the flaps. It was only on the first stage of flaps. It was just the lever had not closed that last little bit. That's sod's law, isn't it? Because when we got in the aeroplane, when I set 18 degrees and it went straight there, I said, oh, it looks like it's behaving itself. And then it did that to us. So I had to move the flap lever back away from the end of the its throw and then move it back again, and it suddenly woke up and did it. Very strange. We're getting there though. 12 miles to run until we get to the waypoints. Does it agree with what we're seeing here? And the aeroplane's disappeared off the map. It's lost its connection, hasn't it? So does that mean that the... That's not it. Symlink. There it is. Well, that's retrieving information. It's just Navigraph's not listening to it anymore, unless it's over here somewhere. Oh, there it is, of course it is. That's interesting. So why is it flashing? Maybe that means it's live. Show own ship trail. That's rather interesting. I didn't know they were doing that. Is that a new feature to copy LittleNavMap? The really interesting one, it might break something if I run it, is, where is it? Volanta. If you've not seen Volanta, this is going to update because I've not run it for ages. Or I'll be shocked if it doesn't. So bear with me, we need the password for it. So we could give it a picture of this aeroplane because it's never seen it before. And it will remember it. And we can add a flight plan. We can import from Simbrief so it knows where we're going. But the nice trick with this, we're about to go flying straight past the
Asiana 112,
waypoint.
Approach
4 miles.
19.75.
Actually, we've just overflown it. This is interesting, so I can show you this. We've just overflown, but we want to be going 256 degrees. So we're going to change our course to 256. And you can see it's too far away for it to grab it now. So we're going to have to start playing games with the heading. So we'll turn it onto an intercept angle and we'll pick the beam back up and then be able to reacquire beam mode. Because when it loses signal it goes to roll hold. So just to illustrate that, look, we're turning back now towards the track. And we could go, if we wanted to, and go nav 2. And remember we need 256, so we'll just straighten that up. And it's coming back in, look, towards CDI. So if we go beam mode, if you're too far away it will do heading and beam, but it's close enough to do it straight away. So now we've got 40 miles to run, and it's turning right, look, to straighten up the course onto the CDI. So anyway, well, before we realised that was going on, are we about to overspeed? No, we're fine. Oh, that was just the klaxon telling us about altitude pre-select. We're within 900 feet of the target altitude. So, I was going to show you this. So this is Volanta that's now tracking our flight in the background. The nice thing about Volanta is you can see it in 3D. You can also open layers up. You can also overlay the weather onto it, if there is any. You can see other aeroplanes around. So any of those aeroplanes, you can go click on them and see what their flight plan is and where they've been so far. And over time, it remembers your flights. So if I went and looked at flights, you can see where I've used it in the past. It would look better if I turned satellite off. You can see my past flights sketched all over the map. It's quite cool, isn't it? So that's Volanta. I'll leave it running in the background, we can have a look at it later. Volanta is free, by the way, if you've not seen it. So we've bussed the altitude now. That's interesting. You can't see if these lights are on. So let's go altitude on. So the auto might not have been on. With the sun shining on the buttons, you can't tell.
Expect the Fubuki arrival. I'll start your descent in about 20 minutes.
Copy the Fubuki arrival. Talk to you in 20 minutes. My Air 073. Sorry. KLM 073. I was flying with my Air the other night. So we want to come back down to vertical speed on, auto on. You can't tell if the auto's on though because of the sun shining on it. So it's coming back down gently. That's interesting because that came up with the klaxon about it getting to 30,000 feet, didn't it? But it blew it and went straight through. Now it's going to capture, hopefully. And watch the vertical speed. Is it going to wind it out? Am I going to have to press it? No, it's done it. And it's gone to height mode, which is altitude hold. How strange. We had the APU one, didn't we? We were messing around with it. We can go and turn that off now. I'm trying to remember why we turned it on. Oh, we were playing with it, weren't we, to see if it influences the gauges earlier. So 14 miles to the next waypoint, and then when we depart that one, if we wanted to, we could just put it on GPS, but I think it's more fun to do this. So at the moment we are tracking on nav 2. So if we go and tune nav 1 into the next waypoint, 11505. And the course we want to get there on is 293 degrees. So what we can do as well is bring the heading bug around to the direction we're going at the moment. So you can see there's a bit of wind shear going on. The plane is offsetting the course. So yeah, we're coming down 9 miles from the target, so we're going to go to heading mode. So 8 miles. We're wanting to turn to 293, look. So we're going to be turning right about 30 degrees. So we're in heading mode at the moment. We can go nav 1. Notice it's now showing the offset and the CDI coming in. So we could actually go and start to turn the heading in as the CDI comes in towards us. And obviously that's close enough now that we could go to beam mode. And it won't even stay in heading and beam, it's just gone straight for beam mode. So that will take over, and now it's in beam mode. We can do that.
Megabyte 44. Tokyo control identified.
AIRN arrival set coming up in about 20 minutes.
So it's just crossing past Hiroshima. So the danger is if you fly right over the top of a VOR while you're tuned into it, you'll lose signal, and when that happens the aeroplane will go to roll hold. It will drop the guidance if it loses a signal. So we tuned to the next one before we needed to. So according to LittleNavMap, our descent will start not until way down here. Maybe that was 20 minutes from where we were a few minutes ago. So we're going to fly down across the southern island and then do this lovely approach that comes in across the bay. Are we overspeeding? Yes, we are. Just. So let's go and pull the throttles back to about 85% maybe. Nice chemtrail behind us for all of you conspiracy theorists out there flying over the good flat earth. So we'll just follow ATC instruction all the way in there. I'll have to send a link to this video to JustFlight and say, here you go, the first hour, you can go and look at the bug in the controls. I'm sure they've looked at it by now. To be honest, these aircraft in the simulator these days are so complicated. I'm amazed there aren't more bugs in them. The comet would be good fun, wouldn't it? Just looking at Patrick's comment there in the live stream. So 36 miles and counting. Do you know what? I'm going to go make a coffee, and while I do so, I'm going to put us back onto GPS mode. As you can see, we're almost exactly on the track. So it's just in case we get to the next one before I get back with the coffee. So obviously it will make the turns on its own. But having passed a couple of waypoints, should we just double check this? It thinks we're on our way to IME, which is correct. Because this can get confused. So it's worth knowing your way around looking at it. Yeah. So it's highlighted in purple. It doesn't remove the legs as some other systems do. It just highlights the next waypoint in magenta. Okay, so I'm going to leave it tootling along, or we're slowing down a little bit actually. Let's go up the throttle a little bit more. We're down to 230 knots. If we're not careful, we'll slow right down. Let's just make sure before I walk away that this is not moving too much. It's accelerating again, but not overly. I say that's actually quite rapid acceleration for this thing. About 90% power. I think it'll be alright. Famous last words. So, I'm going to go make a coffee. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. can see the GPS has just changed to the next waypoint, 52 miles. And the aircraft's turning, it's anticipating, it was still about 5 miles short of the waypoint. So I anticipated that to make the turn and smoothly cut the corner, which you can see it doing here on LittleNavMap. And if we look below us, we should see that airport. There it is. So the somewhere down there on the ground, I think it's there, is the VOR. If you look on the little map, you'll be able to see it. Oh no, it's the far end, sorry. It's off to the left. So there it is. So did we get any more instructions yet? No. Okay, so Ube VOR 11080. And the course to get there is 217 degrees. Oh, we're overspeeding again. .7 degrees. There we go. It's interesting switching between nav and GPS, or radio navigation and GPS mode. In many aircraft it would drop out of the guidance and go to roll hold or heading mode, usually roll hold. That's interesting that this behaves in the way it does. So let's bring the heading bug round to match. So we're flying radio navigation again. I'll switch this back. So 33 miles to run, 34 miles to run into the next waypoint. As soon as we get past the Ube VOR, we'll switch on GPS tracking anyway for it to fly the route for us, so we just have to focus on altitudes on the way in.
Good morning, Kata 88, flight level 310.
That's not for us.
888, climb flight level 310. Good morning.
So, if we have a look, so 60 miles. The general rule for descent is 3 miles for every 1,000 feet, basically. So 3 to 1. So, say if you've got 30,000 feet, I'll explain it with 10,000 feet. I guess it's easier. It's 30 miles. Yeah. So 30,000 feet would be 90 miles. 36,000 feet, you're looking at 100 miles or so. It's only a rule of thumb, but it works for most big airlines. Obviously, if you start throwing spoilers out, all bets are off. And you can come down a lot more steeply if you need to. Great, isn't it? When the simulator works, it's a thing of wonder, and it doesn't take much to go wrong for it to suddenly look. It's like the Emperor's New Clothes, isn't it? When things start to go wrong, it exposes it as being a simulator. When everything's working well and it's looking good outside, it can start to fool you into, the immersion is improved, but it doesn't take much to break the immersion. It's a real shame of it, I guess. So let's go and familiarise ourselves with this star. So we fly in from Ube to... So we've got some altitude restrictions along the way. So above 7,000, above 5,000, above 2,600. So our first target, and we got above 11,000 OHGAE actually. So our first target will be 11,000 feet. Whoa, how did I manage that? Oh, okay. I didn't realise you could tilt the map in 3 dimensions in Navigraph as well. It's rather clever. It's interesting that this is not wanting us to start descending until almost it's going to be pushing it for the descent to do that in one go. Should still be okay. Obviously, like I said, we've got the spoilers.
KLM 073, descend via Fubuki into Nagasaki.
So I told it to use beam mode now. Sorry, GPS mode. So it's making the turn. Look, we've just overflown the VOR. And we've been given our instructions. Descend into Fubuki into Nagasaki, KLM 073. So we're going to go for 11,000 feet. So we go to the pre-selector. We select 11,000. And then we can go indicated airspeed mode at the speed we're at, which is a plenty good enough speed. And we can pull the power away. We can go and put this onto auto as well. But we'll wait. It's a shame the sun is shining on the buttons so much. So when we pull the power back now, and that buzzer is a limitation of the power. We can only pull the power back so far without the gear down. So we're going to keep an eye on this. It's going to come down at about 1,000 feet a minute at the moment. If we want more, we can go for spoilers. Or we can pull the throttles back further, which I'm going to do, and you can hit the undercarriage horn silencer button and it will shut up. And you're coming down now at, you need to just keep an eye on the indicated airspeed. Because even though you're in indicated airspeed mode, you just need to keep an eye on it, really. So we can use power now to control our descent rate. And we can cheat a little bit. If we look in LittleNavMap and go and show the altitude plot, you can see, look, we're coming down steeper than we need to. So we could wind that back up a bit. So all we need to do, in indicated airspeed, look, we can just open the throttle a little bit more. Remember, opening the throttle will influence the descent rate. And then you can see that vector off the front of the aeroplane is looking about right now. It takes a while for it to stabilise. So I was looking at this earlier and we got interrupted by the departure. This still flickers, doesn't it? It's better than it used to be, but it's still not drawing anything.
Control, Air Canada 3586, climbing through flight level 329 for flight level 3990.
Air Canada 3586, Fukuoka Control identified, good afternoon.
So we're going to be doing this one. So there's our 11,000 feet, and then we carry on through Paddy, Tara, Takak, Obama, Aino, Fubki, and then straight into Nagasaki. Well, that's the plan anyway. So we'll start to see some nice scenery along the way, hopefully. So we're in nav mode. Beam mode means it's tracking the GPS track. We're heading towards the OG waypoint, which is correct. This is just me being paranoid now. Double checking and triple checking things. We've had enough go wrong today so far. We don't want anything more to go wrong. So the advantage of getting it to 250 knots before we started the descent and just holding it is when we come down to 10,000 feet, we won't have to decelerate. Not that that really counts because we're only going to 11.
Descend altitude 11,000, QNH 1018.
Descending 11,000, QNH 1018, KLM 073. Which is what we're already doing. So he's telling us to suck eggs, basically. Obviously, when we come down through, let's just double check the transition altitude's the same at the other end. Yeah, 140, 14,000 feet. So when we get to the transition altitude, we'll have to switch over to 1018 on the QNH. So we're using the millibars, or hectopascals as we call them in Europe. Certainly for aviation anyway. For all other purposes it's still millibars. I think we're good. So who are we actually talking to at the moment? Fukuoka Control. Okay, so they'll probably put us into Nagasaki arrivals at some point. I'm not sure how the sectors work in this part of the world, but they'll guide us. They'll hand us off automatically. how are we looking on that descent? That's still looking great. So we can zoom this in a bit. If you've never seen this in LittleNavMap, as you move the mouse along here, you can see a circle on the map moving as well. So it gives you a really good visual indication to kind of picture what you're doing. And we can continue this descent, to be honest, all the way in. Should we go and have a look though? The advantage that Navigraph gives us is you get speed restrictions. Yeah, so look, max 230 at Obama. So you're slowing down as you come around the corner. But we'll only be dropping 20 knots, and then another 20 knots. So just looking at this descent rate though, we may be able to follow this all the way in almost. There's Obama. That vector is looking pretty good, isn't it? Because although this is not a flight plan, this line is worth pointing out. This is just LittleNavMap rendering this. Because it didn't even have the correct altitude look. So there we go, that vector's looking pretty good though, all the way in. So we need to go and tune in 11090 on the radios, ready for ILS. And the course should match the runway direction. So, or the ILS glide slope direction, I should say. Localizer, not glide slope. 325 degrees. – 17,000 feet and descending. Let's have a look outside. We have a moment. Should make it look pretty outside. Okay. How are we doing? We're about to turn left in a moment. So, whoops. So Nagasaki is somewhere.
KLM 073. Contact Nagasaki approach on 119.175.
Contacting Nagasaki approach 119.175 KLM 073. Good day. Nagasaki approach, KLM 073 with you at 15,000 feet, descending for 11 for approach into Nagasaki as filed.
KLM 73, Nagasaki approach identified. Yoi Yoru. Expect the ILS Yankee, runway 32 approach into Nagasaki.
Expect the ILS Yankee, runway 32 approach into Nagasaki, KLM 073. So, being asked in the live stream, what do I think of Say Intentions? I think it's fantastic. The large language model allows you to talk to it, makes it extremely flexible, and it generally makes sense of what you're doing. And they're improving the back end all the time, so without you having to update anything, it gets more and more intelligent. So I know at the moment they're looking at sequencing and separation. So if there's a lot of aeroplanes in the airspace, it will, it will look after separation. And the real reason they're doing that is Say Intentions already has a feature inside it called Skynet, which is free as far as I'm aware. So even on an unpaid instance of Say Intentions, you can use Skynet. And Skynet does aeroplane injection into the simulator, and what that means is you can use it instead of the multiplayer. So, and also it's cross simulator, so if you're running Say Intentions in 2020 and your friend is running Say Intentions with 2024, you can see each other. So you can turn off multiplayer in Flight Simulator and it injects the appropriate or an appropriate looking aeroplane.
073, contact Fukuoka. Approach on 128.45.
Contacting Fukuoka, approach on 128.45, KLM 073. Good day. Fukuoka approach, KLM 073 with you at 11,000 feet, descending for approach into Nagasaki as filed. So now we've got through 11,000. Here we can drop to 7,000.
Fukuoka approach identified. Good evening, Nagasaki QNH 1019er.
So we're going to go 7,000 feet. And we're going to go indicated airspeed mode and let it carry on down. And let's have a look at that descent profile. We're still looking pretty good. In fact, we could say 5,000 feet at this point, couldn't we? We know based on that projection we're going to be absolutely fine. Let's have another look at the chart. There's too many things running now, haven't we? So 2,600 feet is the actual limit we're looking for. Based on the current descent rate, we'll be on target for it, for the entrance into the ILS. So we have come down through the QNH though, so we want 1018, which makes us actually a little bit higher. It's interesting, it always twists my mind trying to think about, was I higher than I thought I was or lower than I thought I was?
Tower on 118.4. 118.4 tower.
So we also need to decelerate, don't we? If you remember, not until we get to Obama, but we're hurtling on down here, and it will be more difficult to slow down earlier, later. So what I'm going to do is try to set this to do the same descent rate we're doing, which is about 1,000 feet a minute by the look of it, just under. And we're going to go for so it's over here, isn't it? Vertical speed on, auto on, which means it will come out at 2,600. Whoa! And then, so yeah, that's not coming down quite as steeply as we want it to.
KLM-73, Fukuoka approach, contact Nagasaki approach on 119.175.
Contacting Nagasaki approach on 119.175, KLM 073. Good day. Nagasaki approach, KLM 073 with you, descending for the approach into Nagasaki as filed.
KLM 73 Nagasaki approach identified. Konban wa Nagasaki QNH 1020.
Copy QNH, KLM 073, thank you. So we need to get the speed down. So I've gone to vertical speed mode, obviously, so we can go and cancel the undercarriage horn, and we're just bleeding some speed off now before we get close to... Should we go and close some of these windows? We're all getting in each other's way, aren't we? Oh, we said we'd look at that later. We're going to close Bitwarden, we don't need that. Close the File Explorer, we don't need that. I think that's about it. The rest of it's useful to us. How are we doing on our... Yeah, we're not descending fast enough, look. So we'll go and crank the descent rate and pull the power and the spoilers to get to 230 knots. So we are holding 230 knots, coming down to 2,600 feet, ideally. Oh, we're below 10,000 feet now as well, so we need to go and put the landing lights on. Completely missed that in all of the fun and games. Should we look at them outside?
Nagasaki approach, request descent to 2,500 feet.
So there's the airport over there. We're going to turn around and fly in through this gap.
Going through 2,500 feet to 450.
So we've got this set to 2,600, so that's good. Speed is looking good. So I'm just coming around the corner here, look. We should pick up the ILS as soon as we come out of the turn. On the final turn, we'll switch back to radio mode. So the runway direction is what did we say? 325.
Descent altitude 3500. Turn left, heading 125 vectors for the ILS runway 32 approach. KLM 073, descent altitude 3500. Turn left, heading 120.
That didn't come up in here, did it?
073, 3 miles from CF32Y. Turn right, heading 260, descend altitude 2600 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway. 32 approach.
Cleared for the ILS for runway 32, KLM 073.
KLM 073, contact Nagasaki Tower on 126.2.
This has gone wrong, isn't it? Contacting Nagasaki Tower on 126.2. 073. Nagasaki Tower, KLM 073 on approach. We'll just tell them that. We've not given them enough. Let's see what they say. This is the large language model I was on about.
Column 73, Nagasaki Tower, wind 250 at 22. Runway 32, clear to land.
There we go. So, what we could do, let me just get sat properly now. I'm going to turn the autopilot off. And start opening the engines up. So we're scrubbing speed off now. And starting to extend the flaps. And also we're going to go for radio mode And you can see there's the glide slope. We're obviously dead on the centre line almost, so we'll just follow it in. So we're a little bit above the glide slope. Slightly off to the right, only a tiny bit off to the right, but we can fix that. So we're now on the glide slope. Speed is coming off nicely. Just about make out the PAPI lights now. It's a bit of a crosswind.
Singapore 416, contact departure.
Over the departure, Singapore 416.
Singapore 416, contact Nagasaki departure on 121.0, safe flight.
Nagasaki, 660 to final runway 13.
Did I read back the cleared to land?
1000. Come through, please take your 6 flight.
So Nagasaki Tower, clear to land 073. I wasn't sure that I read it back to them.
Cabin is secure.
Oh, it's a bit windy. Look at that kicking us into the air. Just getting back down onto the glide slope and onto the centre line. Look at that, we're having to crab quite a lot.
Minimums. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
That was quite eventful, wasn't it? That was quite turbulent on the approach. More so than I thought it was going to be. Had to crab quite a lot. I didn't dare straighten it up when we were still in the air. Obviously, as you get more practiced at an aeroplane, you can play those games. So I waited for the main gear to come down and then turned us.
KLM 073, welcome to Nagasaki. Contact ground on 121.6.
Contacting ground 121.6, KLM 073. Good day. So we'll pull up here. Nagasaki ground, KLM 073, exiting the runway.
KLM 73, Nagasaki ground. Taxi to gate 6, via Tango 4, Papa 3, Papa 2. Have a good evening. Evening, Niigakun-shin.
What was the gate number he just told me? Taxi to gate 6 via Tango 4, Papa 3, Papa 2. KLM 073.
KLM 073, taxi to gate 7, via Papa 3, Papa 2. Have a good evening.
That's because I did 2 broadcasts and it muddled it up. So let's go and have a look.
Singapore 416, read that correct?
So this is the taxi chart, but not the gate chart. So we can go over here and go and show the airport charts.
Kilo Nagasaki ground taxi to parking at your discretion.
Seven, it's down the far end. Okay. Should we open the door so we can hear the music? Nagasaki terminal building. So this has got custom scenery. Fantastic. So which one's number 7 then? Well, I'm going to go for the one after the 757 regardless, because I don't know if it's got enough knowledge to be able to tell you things like that. And then we'll go and have a look around. Although I don't think it's got an inside, it's quite a simple airport, but still pretty good. Ah, that's number 5. So that must be 7 over here. That's 2. Okay, the numbers make no sense. We're going for number 5 then. I think there might have been an airplane on number 7, yeah. 7 has got that 757 on it, I think. Oh no, that's number 6. Maybe 7 was the this 777 over there. Yeah, so there wasn't anywhere to park. Okay, parking brake on. Turn the taxi lights off. There. And strobe should have come off at the runway, shouldn't they? And in here we can go ground power, please. Is this going to let us? Oh, we have to close that first. Ground power, chocks, and then overhead. So external power is on, which means that everything else can come off. So if we go and do, I've forgotten the keys again. Alt 1, wasn't it? So let's turn the fans off. Should we go and turn the engines off? They were on external power. We don't need the engines running anymore. So they're spooling down. And there's not a lot to do other than just turning off obviously the heating and the anti-ice measures around the place. Very good. Turn the transponder off. Turn the radios off. There is an alternate wheel brake control there. I wonder if we were able to use that. I only just noticed it. Like a backup system. Still doesn't... If you watch the parking brake down here, the parking brake on my controller works in the aircraft, but it doesn't animate that. So that appears to be a slight oversight somewhere. Okay! So, should we go and do the doors? If we say jetway, will it allow us to? Oh, we've turned the radio off, haven't we? I wonder if you need the radio on to be able to command a jetway. Nope. Or we have to do deboarding. Maybe that will do it. Start deboarding. No, that didn't trigger it either. The Sim's having a bit of a fit over there, isn't it? I wonder if you can do it if we go via ground. I'm just clicking this to see if it will animate the jet bridge or not. Yes, it will. Interesting. Obviously it's a bit big for our aeroplane. At least we do get a jet bridge, which is unusual. Cool. So that worked. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. This ended up being a far longer video than I anticipated. We've been online now for 3 hours, which is a bit nuts. The first hour of which was trying to find out why we had no brakes, and we ended up restarting the simulator twice, and then it started working. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed that tonight. So we saw more about the this little aeroplane, the F28, than we ever anticipated. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you ever so much for watching along if you made it this far. Hopefully the next few flights will be a little bit smoother than this one. Hey, take care. See you all again soon. Oh, just before we go, one last thing. Let's go look at Volanta. So we've got our flight that we're on, and it's actually finished the flight for us. So if we come in and look at this one here, so there's the flight, and you can see the route we took in lovely 3 dimensions, but you can also see the touchdown point on the runway, and you can look at it at 180 feet a minute, 105 knots, so it gets you your performance information. It's quite cool, isn't it? And then as you look around this, you can see in 3D your track as you came in. It's colour coded for altitude as well, look. And it keeps that, so you can look back in the future and come back and look at that. Anyway, enough fun and games. See you again soon.